And to discuss this further, I'm joined in the studio by Yaser Tabbara. He's a board member of the Omran Center for Strategic Studies here in Istanbul, and Sinan Hatahet, who is a senior associate fellow at the Al-Sharq Forum. Thank you so much for being here. Yaser, let's begin with you. Is the destruction in Raqqa an acceptable cost for defeating Daesh?
Well, what is an acceptable cost for the loss of thousands of human lives and the almost complete destruction of an entire city? Some have likened the situation in Raqqa as it looks today to the leveling out of Dresden in Germany post-World War II. And I think that is definitely an unacceptable price for any purpose or any objective.
Sinan, is that a fair comparison?
Well, it is a fair comparison, but made by a party that has done equally worse in other parts of the country. We've seen same level of destruction in eastern Aleppo. We've seen also a continuous air campaign and airstrikes against civilians in Idlib, and with complete disregard of human lives. So this is maybe a true comparison, but coming from one of the worst parties in terms of human rights record in Syria.
Sinan, Yaser, you both are Syrians, originally from Syria. The war's been going on for 6 years now. Is this the worst destruction that we've seen?
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. The Russians, who actually made the analogy with post-World War II Germany, have leveled big parts of the biggest city in Syria, which is Aleppo. In fact, the Russians have been short of being proud of implementing the Grozny approach to fighting terrorism, quote unquote, in cities like Aleppo, and helping a criminal, brutal regime regain some semblance of control over some of its lost territory. As we've seen in many, many reports, the cost of rebuilding Syria exceeds the tens of billions of dollars. Some reports go to hundreds of billions of dollars. And so Raqqa is unfortunately another episode in that string of destruction. It's still remains to see who's going to own that broken piece and who is going to basically push in the direction of reconstruction. Having the Syrian Defense Forces, led by the Kurdish militias of the YPG, does not give me very good indications on where this is going.
Sinan, enlighten us. For the longest time, the U.S. has been trying to rebrand the YPG, wanted to change its name officially to the SDF, which is this umbrella group, and most of the fighters are YPG fighters in it. So why would the YPG then reinforce things that the U.S. is trying to move it away from, like putting up a banner of Ocalan?
Well, I guess everyone has spoken about how this is a free provocation of Turkey, but really it's more a slap in the face of the U.S. rather than anything else. This has been the main topic of divergence between Ankara and between Washington, and has been the subject of long discussions, and also some might say also the topic of the main latest differences between the two countries. And the United States stuck to his guns, and they said no, YPG is Syrian-led. It is also grassroots movement, and there is nothing to fear. But when we look at the lists of the people that get killed in action, most of them are not actually Syrians. They are PKK members that either are Turkish originally, or from Iraq, or even from Iran. So all of them part of the Kijak umbrella of PKK and its offshoots. So the numbers and facts do not lie in this sense. But really the most important thing that we have to keep an eye on is how they have been able to monopolize the security, the social also infrastructure of the so-called Rojava area, and how they have prevented anyone, civilians, even those who are willing to work with them, to actually provide an alternative.
Very quickly, I want to know where this leaves the Syrian regime. Bashar al-Assad, who's been gaining a lot of territory? Yaser?
Well, I mean, this goes to the question of control without legitimacy, right? I mean, this is the story of the YPG in areas like Raqqa. You have the majority population of Arab populations that are now being forced to be under the military control of a non-Arab force, and that goes back to the Assad question, authority without legitimacy. Although I think in the case of Bashar al-Assad, we might see some concessions of land between some of the actors as part of a deal with the Russians to be under the control of the Assad regime. However, you have a major capacity issue that is not going to be fulfilled by the Assad regime because it has completely lost a lot of capacity over the past 6 years.
Finally, on Raqqa, it's almost a symbol, and it's quite reflective of what's happened across Syria with major towns and cities. Before the war started in 2011, Raqqa's population, the city's population, was around 200,000 people. Now it's estimated to be 45,000 people left in that city. What of the people?
Well, I'm even surprised there is 45,000 left in the city. I think that most of the inhabitants have fled the city during the fights, and then now are living very poor conditions into refugee camps across the region and near the Euphrates. And these camps looks more like concentration camps rather than anything else. They have been treated in a very bad way. They have been interrogated for long hours. They have been prevented from leaving the camps, even to join their families in other cities. And once again, the problem here is, how can we defend the rights of these people? How can we help them? How can we assist them? Because they have been labeled as ISIS sympathizers, and this is completely wrong. This has no solid ground, and it's very difficult to leverage a different approach to deal with the Raqqawi peoples because of the PYD strong control of the region, and most importantly, the U.S. support to this group.
Sinan Hatahet, Yaser Tabbara, thank you so much.
Thank you.